Welcome back, people. It's another
What's
episode of the
up?
Mindful CEO. Hello, Aaron.
Hey,
We
Chris.
we are back. I I never get that kind of reception from you except when I'm introducing the podcast.
Because you never go,
It's
okay, hey, what's up, Aaron? I mean, we rarely
amazing.
start our conversations.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, oh, we never do that.
That's
So,
amazing. I love it. It's the most cheerful Aaron I know.
it,
Hey, Chris. What's up?
what's up? I know
What's up,
mostly
my friend?
I'm curmudgeon-y. And as the show wears on, I get more and more curmudgeon-y, so it's all good.
And I just eat it up the more and more we do it. So
Yeah.
don't ever change.
Okay.
Stay sweet. Don't change. Oh
That's what
God.
they
All
do.
right. Let's go somewhere.
All right.
Uh,
Well,
we just talked about a bunch of stuff in the green room. So what were you present to that we should talk about?
I just thought we should. So I went through my old notebooks, and
Yeah,
I don't know. I have about half a dozen half-filled old notebooks. Things that I've picked up from
yeah,
vendors at conferences. They're like, here, have a
uh-huh,
journal, right? And I take
yeah,
their journals. So I have title company journals and
uh-huh.
one that's I'm a freaking badass. And then these are my favorite. These are like my personal favorite. I love these.
Yeah.
Right? This is like always makes me
Is it a
good to walk
moleskin
into a listing appointment with one of the old composition notebooks. It's like,
composition?
yeah, I'm old school. I feel like it's you know, and I don't lose this stuff as if anyway. I was
It's
going
a
to
status, man. You're showing off your status. Like I got an
exactly.
old composition notebook. Like if you know, you know.
That's right. That's right. It does. It is a status thing, frankly. I
Status
mean,
symbol.
really, it's like it's a way of getting,
Mm-hmm.
distinguishing myself from
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, uh,
Slick, slick Rick.
Slick Rick, that with his remarkable, right? Which is and the Lamborghini leaning, right?
Yeah.
I
Aaron walks in old school.
old school. Yeah. Anyway, I prefer it. I don't know. I don't have a
Yeah.
remarkable, and I'm a little scared of them.
Rage Against the
Um,
Machine.
at any rate, I was cleaning up my office and I found a bunch of them and sort of thumbing through them to see because a lot of it's just like addresses and phone numbers and here's 70% literally on one of the pages. Okay, and an email address I don't have. And anyway, one of the things I wrote down, and I don't know where I got this, but I thought this was really useful. Something we could, take the crayon for a walk with was
Mm-hmm.
your bucket list is rarely something to buy or own. It's almost always an experience,
Mm-hmm.
and it's usually has to do with other people. Bucket list, when we think about it, is never something we buy or own. No one's like, yeah, that's on my bucket list to own this thing or that thing. And that you inherently understand it's about the journey, that we all have an innate knowledge
Right.
that life is about the journey. We hear that all the time. I mean, Jesus, and
Yeah.
you and I say it all the time. It's the foundation of this show
Yeah.
and what you and I do together. We keep grounding ourselves in it. And your whole vision is to walk each other home,
Yeah. Thanks for
which
We're just walking each other home. Right.
which is the journey. And I
Yeah.
think I think we know it. I think people have an innate experience of that. And yet
Mm.
what we strive for day to day doesn't line up with that, is
Yeah.
inauthentic to that, is out of
Mm.
alignment with that, whatever,
Mm.
a
Mm.
different vibration,
Yeah.
all of it is accurate. So,
Hmm.
and then, on our deathbeds, we're going to open our eyes and know that the end is coming if we're lucky,
Yeah.
right? Otherwise, what's going to happen before we get to know it? But either way, I don't know if we're lucky fits. Um,
Sure.
but certainly people wind up on their deathbed looking over their life, and with to whatever degree there's regret, it's regret about not having enjoyed the journey.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
And I think that's a big part of the mission of the show and the mission of what we do, Chris, you and I, is
Yeah.
to have people wake up to that. And then the other piece that we want to,
Mm.
anything you want to say about that, or you want to connect that to the other piece? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I was just thinking
About
about
pain.
how I feel like, um, what I'm present to is the conversation that we're hosting in this podcast and in the Mindful CEO Mastermind is a space for these contemplations, these groundings to ground back into, to remember, to have a conversation with. Because if we don't, for me, if I don't, it's so easy in the gravitational pull of hustle culture and the gravitational pull of go buy stuff to be happy that I forget. If you're not in the practice of the things that matter,
Yeah.
the journey, then it's easy to make everything in an order to, once I have this, then I'll do that.
Yeah.
Once I have the things, then I'll go be in relationship with community. I can't afford to spend time finding a community right now that doesn't produce a result for me right now, because I need to make money so that down the road later I can be in community. It's like,
Right.
it
All right.
doesn't
Well,
make
so I don't
sense.
know that in community is the necessary. I mean, that for sure is your, where you look at things from. I just don't. I think, yeah, with others, right, in community. But yeah, let's get that a little bit more
Yeah.
uh, uh, focused, because in community means with your family, with the people, actually experiencing gratitude and aware and appreciation for those that we love around us. That's what you mean by community, yeah.
Yeah. I mean that generally that way, but I also mean if you could design it, I think we would spend more time with people we enjoy having conversations with,
Yes.
and not conversations like how's the weather, but the conversations that really inspire us.
Yeah.
And there isn't a common container to do that on a common basis, a frequent basis. Like uh, if you're religious, you can go to church or synagogue, or you could go, like, there are some built-in frequencies and rhythms to something like that. But if you're a mindful CEO, if you're somebody in business who wants to build a cathedral to something that matters to you, where do you go to talk about that?
Right.
And that's what I mean by to be in and around conversations with others who are some on a similar path. And I'm distinctly speaking about that community. Yes, there's a community of your family,
Yeah.
your friends. Yeah, yeah. But and then
Yeah.
there's this other thing that I think would really inspire us.
Yeah. Good. And I do think that's why the 5 people that tune in. Um, and the opportunity of whatever other work we do. And so I think for the purposes of this conversation today, we, even without that future, well, I don't know. So if it wasn't, a lot of thoughts,
Mhm.
the thing that connected, the thing that I was excited about when I said, all right, we should record, was,
Yeah.
The unforeseen pain
Yeah.
of being alone,
Mm-hmm.
or
Sure.
or being trapped in the acquisition of things,
Yeah.
and the undistinguished pain. And that pain can be undistinguished is a really fucking cool thought.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
we, and that moment of
Mm-hmm.
Satori on one's deathbed, where one wakes up to, oh my God, I've wasted my life,
Yeah.
is the degree to which you've been living in pain, undistinguished as pain.
Mm. Yeah.
There's a moment in which that what doesn't occur as pain right now, it occurs as normal. In a moment, under a new light, it would show up as pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
where was I talking about this? I think I was just writing about gratitude, and a cancer diagnosis
Mm.
is a moment in which things that didn't, it becomes then painful to not be with my family.
Mm.
Hang on, I don't have a cancer diagnosis.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not me personally.
Right.
Um, but there are life altering moments like that,
Mm-hmm.
where priorities shift, where what one values
Yeah.
shifts radically, and what wasn't, that you could call that a pain,
Mm.
right? That you didn't know you had. It's a want you didn't know you had. You have things that you want, that if you think you could have them, you'd want them.
Mm-hmm.
But because you don't think you can have them, you don't even bother wanting them.
Mm. Yeah.
And
Mm.
uh, that's one of those things that, those things that are on, to have people wake up to that, Chris, to have even the fact that this is a container for people to come and be mindful inside what they're building
Yeah.
is so far downstream from having people actually wake up to,
Mm.
wait a minute, I want that.
Yeah, that's good.
But they can't even hear that this container where people could walk each other home and we could build something together is
Right.
even interesting,
Yeah.
because for them, inside hustle culture, inside, I do myself,
Yeah.
I,
Right. Right.
I it's not it's not a pain I have. That's not something I'm looking
Yeah.
for a solution for.
Yep. That's good.
And
Yeah, man. Eureka.
I think that's a something that you and I, in terms of what we're building, but I want to shift the light
Mm-hmm.
from what you and I are building to what people
Yep.
listening are building for a minute. And
Yeah.
um, I'd love, so if I take
Mm-hmm.
myself out of the building of this community mode
Yeah.
and sort of put it out there inside, okay, well, all right, my day job, right,
Yep.
of empowering people in their financial transactions around real estate.
Yep.
Um, what are the pains? This would be a really good module for the mastermind, but like, what are the pains that are hidden from people that they would want if they knew they could have them? And then how does uncovering that with 4 people, as my role in uncovering that for people, or having people uncover that for themselves, fulfill my mission of people having agency
Mm.
and,
Mm.
or having the experience of agency. And, just saying it makes sense. It sorts itself out. Like, that is what it is for my mission, to have people have the experience of agency. I would need to get interested in, okay, well, what are all the wants that they don't know they have,
Yeah.
right? That I could be in, right? And so, you're the CEO, you're whatever you're building, right? Whatever your cathedral is, it would have to be useful in the building of your cathedral for you to start to examine where in life
Mm.
are the people around you stuck in what they think they can have versus what they really want.
Wow. Yeah. It's deep, man. I mean, it's like it takes some level of mindfulness, awareness to even see it, to see what you're saying. Cause you're like, there's like a hidden room here. If you know where the secret door is, you can open it and see like, oh shit, there's stuff I want that I didn't even know that I want, or pains that I have that are undistinguished that haven't distinguished yet. And you're like, and underneath that awareness is a whole nother path, a whole nother. If I distinguish the pain, I'm, oh shit, if I had a cancer diagnosis and now I just want to spend time with my family, that's a whole other path.
Right.
Different decisions are made.
Well, that's the Buddhist precept that, I think I quoted it as, I put this out in a couple of different posts, but Carlos Castaneda, in writing about Don Juan, you know, said, something to the effect of, the biggest mistake we make is we think we have time. It's
Mm, mm,
not exactly like that. And it was co-opted by,
yeah.
I think, I want to say Jack Cornfield, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, it's not my saying. It's
Yep.
came from
Yep.
Carlos Castaneda, but the point is the same,
Mm,
that all those things that happen at a cancer diagnosis, or the death of a loved one, or the near miss of a death of a loved one, or all those things that happen are happening right fucking now.
mm,
Those things are, it's a complete illusion, complete and total illusion that you're going to be awake in 20 minutes.
mm.
It's just not true. I mean, it might be true, but it's certainly not. There is nothing. And we know this. This is not like, oh my God, Aaron's enlightening us. My God, he's saying things I've never heard before. No, it's right. Clearly not my thinking, and clearly not the first one to ever read. And
Mm,
at the same time, we continue to sleepwalk through life
mm,
as if I had time tomorrow to get here now. I'm going to be here now tomorrow. That's the madness. That's literally the madness. I don't have time to be here now. Now
yeah,
I can't be here now, but I can. I'm working now so that tomorrow I can be here now.
right.
And then that's the thing that you get woken up out of when you step off the curb and the car just misses you. You get woken up into, oh shit,
Hmm.
if I'm not here now,
Mm,
I'm never here now.
mm,
And
mm.
that's, and that's our jobs as mindful CEOs, I think, is to find ways to empower our customers, the people we serve, our families, our friends, anyone we serve is in our businesses, have them enjoy now.
Yeah,
There's, I mean, there's really no other. I mean, what else is there, right? Otherwise it's just, I think it's just hustle culture. It's just, I'm going to find a way for my business to make more money, more efficiently, more quickly. And,
yeah,
so that but to what end, if you're not present here now,
yeah.
what the fuck are we talking about? Oh, there's a lot in that.
That's good, man. Wait, one thought that just came in was like you think about a House of Mirrors, typically is a bad thing in a horror movie, but if you think about like the amount of angles and reflections you can have to see something you couldn't otherwise see, I feel like in some ways, and I'm going to bring it back to what we're doing in a community where you've got other people having the conversation of now, be here now,
Yeah.
that it's hard to see that blind spot without being in a conversation
Yeah, you
for
can't.
being mindful. The
Yeah.
value of a community, the value of being with other people is that you actually become pain and problem aware. You're like, oh, now I can see the pain. My pain is being distinguished in the conversation. Should I hadn't realized that I hadn't been here now. I was fully and authentically thinking I could be here now tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, no joke, that's a like I could be here now tomorrow, but I can't be here now.
Okay.
And
Uh, uh,
but having this conversation with you, there's something getting distinguished, like, oh shit, yeah, I've been kind of like not present to now. That wasn't available before we had this conversation.
yeah. Well, that's why, that's why I go to Dharma talks. I mean, I have going to Vipassana tonight and there'll be a Dharma talk, and,
Mm.
those dialogues, those back and forths, those, where
Yeah,
there's plenty of time to reflect. And that's, I think that's this is this is judgmental. So I'll say it because I have started the thought, but I'm now clear it's judgmental. But I think that's an appropriate use of religion,
uh-huh.
um, is to have it reflect on the human experience
Sure.
and how the human experience compares to the spiritual experience.
Mm.
And uh, because the spiritual world is always, I don't know, is that true? Is always here now. Um, in the spiritual realm, is there any striving? Is there any place to get? Is there any like,
Mm.
you know, is there a destination? Like, or we're, I've done zero thinking about this until this moment, so I have no idea. Never thought of this. Um, but think the nature of the spiritual realm is here now, is not um pressing forward to get the next spiritual Lamborghini. Um, the spiritual double comma club. I think that's the problem I have with, sort of the mega evangelical churches is the,
Yeah.
the whoring out of the spiritual for the mundane.
Uh-huh.
Um, and not that there's anything wrong with the mundane. I mean, there's very little more mundane than this podcast, frankly. Um, just two old white guys fucking shooting the shit. This is as mundane as you get, except for the hey, Chris.
Yeah. Well, that always makes my day. So
Um,
there's
I
that.
think, I think, Chris, the thing that's valuable, or the thing that, I uh, liked about finding this note to myself,
Mhm.
um, was, and the thing this show provides for me, and why you and I are talking, or anyone who joins the mastermind, or anything else that you do to get that alive for you, is that, you go back through your old notes. They don't live in notebooks as old notes.
Mm.
If you're not actively, and God, what's his name? I just discovered him on Instagram, and I really like him.
Hmm.
Oh, Dan Harris. His name is Dan Harris.
Mm.
And he's an author of, he wrote 10% Happier,
Mm.
and has a podcast. I think it's the Happiness Podcast or something. And me and happiness is like, that's
Mhm.
my happiness is my jam. And it's a good jam. If you're gonna have jam, have happiness as your jam. Anyway, he had this he's got just great Instagram feed, great short little insights,
Mhm.
and really appreciate his work. And I just did a little Instagram split thing, like a duo. I don't know, whatever. He spoke, and then I got myself on the
Oh,
on the reel,
nice.
and because we're so tech. And he was talking about when you're meditating, and people think they can't meditate. Here's a pain. Okay, this is good. So this is, the thing that the business that I'm building is, mindfulness for executives, mindfulness work for,
Right.
realtors and uh, real estate professionals and like that. And one of the pains that people do know they have is that they can't meditate because their mind wanders too much, right? When they,
Right.
that's, I don't know if that's a pain, or we should figure out where that fits in the flow. But one of the things that keeps people from meditating as a regular is they think their minds wander too much.
Yeah.
And his uh, coaching for that was just brilliant. He said, every time your mind wanders, you want to say great,
Hmm. Hmm.
because it's the mind wanders. That's never going to stop. That's not the option.
Mhm. Mm.
Meditation's not about getting the mind to stop wandering. The point of meditation is to become the observer of the mind wandering.
Mm.
So every time you notice the mind wandering, that is great.
Mm.
That is you winning. That is you succeeding at meditating. You noticed the mind wandered.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
that's the point,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
and we hold it like it's not. And there's probably a million ways to go with that thought. Um, but I was building it off of what you said, and I can't remember. Oh, just the thing about community is, because by ourselves, on our
Mhm.
own,
Mm.
I like the way I said that, on our
Eh.
own, um, we're never gonna we're never gonna catch it
Mm.
the way
Mm.
others can catch it for us.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that that's true. I don't know that you'll never gonna catch it. I think, if you practice meditating long enough, you can catch it, but it's for sure easier when you get it out of your head into your speaks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You can see it. So much stuff gets sorted out when it goes from my head to my speech.
Yeah.
I say shit all the time. It's like, oh, did I say that? Do I believe that? No. But when I was thinking it, it was true. But then I said it, and I'm like, no, that's not true.
Mm. Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
saying it to someone gets it. And then we see ourselves in others.
Right.
That's how the forum works so easily and
Right.
quickly and
Right.
well, is that you got a room of 150 people in it. And all of a sudden, you're
Yeah.
in the presence of what it is to be human, and not
Yeah. 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 It's a
stuck in
house of
your,
150 mirrors. Yeah.
yeah. Right. Yeah. That's a great metaphor. Yay. Right.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
work. Nice. Big on. Um,
Yeah.
but that's the opportunity. And yeah, that's actually interesting, Chris. I wonder if uh yeah, things that work in groups, that's a I hadn't even made that connection yet between our mastermind and that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where the fuck you been?
I don't know. This is one of those things that gets worked out in conversation, not in your
Taking the crayon
head.
for a walk, man.
I just, you don't hear what you don't hear until you hear it. And then you hear it and you're like, oh, yeah. And it's always been there to be heard. You just didn't hear it, but
Mm,
it's always been there to be heard. It's all there in the quantum field to be
mm,
downloaded. You just don't get it till you get it. And then when you get it, you got it, but you can't get it until you get it.
yeah.
Right.
Mm,
And that's, um,
mm. So say it again. What you just got. You're like, oh, I didn't get that just now.
oh, that,
Information.
the mastermind, that being in the mastermind is the opportunity is that you're going to hear yourself and others. You're going to accelerate what would otherwise likely just be
Hmm.
a long walk. And there's nothing wrong with long walks alone,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's great for
Yeah.
certain things. And then, you get to also hear yourself
Yeah.
and your situations and others, both from the perspective of their speaking, and you can hear what they're dealing with as,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
given
Yeah.
the vibrational nature of we're all one anyway, that it's coming to you. It's all a reflection,
Mm-hmm.
right? Nothing anyone says to you could be anything but a reflection of your state. That's Esther 101 is,
Right.
you know, it's all what your vibration can't happen any other way. So if it's happening, you're calling for it.
Yeah.
And then the opportunity to say things out here, your opportunity to say things
Yeah. Yeah.
with your mouth
Mm.
to make that noise so that you can get what's in your head the fuck out of your head
Yeah.
and look to see, do you believe that shit?
Right.
Right. And
Yep.
there's something really powerful about that vibration, the vibration of sound
Mm-hmm. Mm.
versus the vibration of thought.
Mm.
And
Mm. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there's obviously all kinds of stuff that I wouldn't,
Yeah.
uh, that say, I don't know, it happens all the time, with tapping. It's one of the really potent things about tapping
Yeah.
is,
Mm.
you're saying it out loud and um, you're dealing with the consequences of having said that.
Mm.
Oh, do I believe that? Is that a place I want to land? Do I want to stop there?
Mm.
What else could I say about it? Those are Esther's rampages of gratitude or rampages of
Yeah.
whatever. Like I'm going to go on
Yeah.
a spiral, vibrational rampage. And that's
Mm-hmm.
great shit there.
Yeah.
Relationships die when they're not out here, right? I know
Yeah. Right.
as much as my wife would like me to, our psychic abilities to
Mm-hmm.
level up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
didn't you know? No, you didn't tell me, right? Or the way you told me didn't register, right? Um,
Mm.
if it's all in communication.
Yeah. I mean, that's, there's a couple of thoughts um, here for me about the impact Landmark had on me. And one is the possibility lives in the conversation. Like that you have a possibility that keeps living on as long as you have a conversation around it. And the minute the
Mhm.
conversation dies, the possibility dies. So why not build a container for the possibilities that we say we're committed to? And sometimes I don't know that we do that. I think that's a someday I'll do that
Mhm.
when I have enough whatever, enough money in the bank, enough success, whatever. But so so in part, I feel like one of the problems is if we're going through the pains and the problems, I feel like one of the problems is that we don't have spaces where we get to keep those possibilities alive.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have intentionally created spaces.
Right. So we bump into those conversations at a lunch or maybe at a dinner or a whatever at an event, a conference, but we don't have an ongoing practice of.
Right. Yeah. Like even, so anyone listening to this, right, listening to our conversation, if you don't have a place to hold this, right, it's a thought you had.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but if you don't have a place where you can expand it and play with it and create from it and hear other people's feedback from it. And any great idea, forget about our ideas, right?
Yeah.
But anyone, any podcast you listen to, you know, my wife is, we had this great group of friends over. We have a get her done group. We have, 5 families that come over to each other's houses once a month and work in the garden and whatnot.
Oh, nice.
And whatever the household needs. And they were, one of them was sharing Mel Robbins' podcast about manifestation. And I was like, oh, that is my jam. You know, I mean, it's my, she's my spirit animal. And which I am bothered that that is now considered offensive. I don't know. I like that saying, but
Yeah.
yeah. At
It
any
doesn't
rate,
offend me.
okay, thank you. I just think she's so great. And you know, we were talking about, but now that conversation, what Mel Robbins is creating, lives in this community of 5 families, where before it was just me who loved Mel and my team who I have watch her all the time. But now I've got a new place
Yeah.
to enjoy and expand and have that be real. And until it's out here, it's just in your head.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, and so creating, you know, it's why my, you know, I appreciate the various men's groups that I have and the various, and frankly, where this whole thing came from with just me and you, why we do this, regardless of the 5 people, you know, if the 5 people that listen stop listening, we would still do this because I can't do anything unless it comes out here,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, there's, yeah, I mean, there's, it sounds like you have very specific, more than most, maybe, community and places where you gather with others
Yeah.
around a particular intention or topic. This, I think, feel like what you and I do here in this space and that we invite others into is it's a very specific conversation around building a cathedral in our business. Like that we're being mindful in our business, heading true east, you know, for something that matters to us.
Mhm.
That's the space we're holding. We're not
Yeah.
doing, you know, fix your garden here. You can
Right.
do that with someone else somewhere else. What we're doing here is the conversation called, how do we continue to build businesses that are in honor of the things we feel make a difference,
Yeah.
and be mindful in the journey as we do it. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And just to bring this back, because it's
yeah.
probably time that we take the crayon back to bed. Um, you know, the opportunity, the thing that your life, your cathedral, my cathedral, the thing I think, and I think this is, you know, probably a universal thread. If you're listening and you think about what it is you want your life to be for and what you're up to in life and the difference you want to have made, and at the end of your day, and your deathbed, and you want to look back and see the difference that I made and the journey that I was on, and you know, you're not going to think I should have gotten that big screen. You're going to count the number of lives that got, the number of differences that got made, and the number of lives that they made a difference in. I think that's the thing that we all want is, um, you know, our bucket list could be activated in terms of how big of a difference are we out to make
Mm-hmm.
with people. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if everyone's cathedral is to turn on everyone else's cathedral or not, or if that's just me and you. I haven't really explored that. But I do know, out of the tens of thousands of people that I've talked to and specifically asked this question, do they want their lives to make a difference? I have yet to meet anyone who says no.
Mm-hmm.
No survivorship bias in that one. That's every single person wants their life to make a difference. And so I think that's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that should be the bucket list item is is the business you're a CEO of making the difference that at the end of the day you would look back on and
Mm-hmm.
think, yes, I did it.
Yep. Awesome. Love that. Well, if you'd like to be a part of our community and our conversations, you can go to themindfulceo.com. That's where
Yeah,
that's happening. It's
that's where that's
where it's
happening.
at. Click on the appropriate link there to apply for the community. It's application only because we're curating a community. Just because you can pay doesn't mean you get in. We want to make sure there's, uh, you know, chemistry here. Like, are you the right fit for us, and are we the right fit for you? So that's why we do applications. Go to the mindfulceo.com/invite. Takes you straight to the application page, and we will follow with details. Thanks, Aaron, for taking the crayon for a walk, as we like to
Yeah.
say. And hey, we'll
Thanks,
see you next
Chris.
time.